Action. Clapping back, clapping back, clapping up, clapping up, clapping up, clapping up. All right, guys. I want to just say welcome back to the Honeypot Podcast. We got a new setup. It's new people here. So new people, right? We've been doing a lot as a company. We've been traveling a ton, and it just kind of got away from us. So we wanted to take some time to shoot a new episode for you guys. And since the last episode, we have a new addition to our team, Abby Zennie, who is now our head of customer success. She comes over from many years in the social listening space, but I'll let her kind of do her own intro so we can have it on record for the podcast.
I don't know what you want to say.
Welcome, Abby.
Welcome, Abby.
Excited to be here.
Just say where what you do. Your purpose.
Yes.
What's
you two
your
in line.
What's your
purpose in
purpose?
life.
To keep you two in check.
Right. First and foremost.
No,
right?
So great to be here. Thanks for letting me be a guest speaker. I'm excited to chat all things cultural intelligence with you guys. But yeah, as Khalil mentioned, I come from about 10 years of background working directly with customers. Previously was focusing with a social media management software company, social listening. And then came over to join these guys just a few months ago. So excited to be here. And again, just keep these two in line.
Well, Abby, we appreciate you and everything. Abby, you've been with us a little bit over 3 months now?
Yeah.
Time's flying.
Yeah.
And you've been doing a hell of a job. And, we've talked about our podcast and how we've been doing things. And we figured we'd bring you in, especially on some of the topics we wanted to talk about today. So I don't know if you people can see your shirt, but I think we're going to be talking a little bit about women's sports, WNBA in particular. That's Abby's area of expertise, I would say, outside of social listening. But then also some other things like Michael and I were talking about, things that we noticed just as consumers shopping for our families at the grocery stores. There's new autonomous shopping things that we've seen, I've noticed in the airport and stuff like that, and then maybe even just jump into some trends that we're seeing in the platform. But without further ado, let's just jump straight to women's sports. Abby.
I actually just saw a trend that Katie Ledecky is going to be in the Olympics again. She just qualified for her fourth Olympic team after a stellar performance at the U.S. Olympic swimming trials in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Have you seen the pool that they've built for them at Lucas Oil Stadium?
Yeah, it's wild.
It's crazy.
Because it's the football field is right under it.
Yeah, it's wild.
I didn't know. I would think that it would have to be a bigger.
Yeah.
To be a pool, but it's not.
It's wild, and they have a dive bar underneath it, so you can literally watch under the pool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You should. I'm looking at some images.
But it's pretty cool. So Katie Ledecky's qualifying for her fourth, I think you said, right, Mike?
Yeah.
And then Diana Taurasi, who plays for the Phoenix Mercury, is qualifying for her sixth, I think.
She's a dog.
She just became the most points over a certain age, post 40. I think she's 40 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
But she's
She's
40.
still lighting it up.
How about
40 years old?
How about how feisty she still is?
Yeah.
So a lot of people.
I love it.
A lot of the scrutiny around the WNBA right now, we all hear it is Caitlin Clark, or people coming down on Caitlin Clark, and I feel so bad for her because she didn't ask for that. And but one of the cool things that I'm starting to see is a lot of people calling out areas of the WNBA that real WNBA fans know, but the mainstream isn't aware of. I had no idea that Taurasi and Skylar Diggins was beefing like that, to the point where in off season she was allegedly put a campaign to kind of get her moved to another team when she was doing what's it called? Maternity leave?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying that it was all this beef between her and Skylar Diggins, and it was everyone's trying to highlight some of the more deeper stories
Yeah.
in the WNBA? Because I think, it's a lot. How you feel about that? Like, there's a lot on Caitlin Clark right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that I think, she didn't ask for all of the scrutiny, but it shouldn't even say scrutiny, all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you're literally the best, she's the most transcendent women's athlete in the last at least decade,
Mm-hmm.
come through the ranks from college to then go play pro ball, where pro ball it's such a disparity between like how popular she made women's basketball in college and like how already popular and established the WNBA like quote unquote was. And don't get me wrong, I get why, vets that have been out here like Diana Taurasi are like, we've been doing this, like we've been saying this, we've been trying to build it, and it's like almost like don't kind of bite the hand that feeds you, like a rising boat lifts all tides kind of thing. Like Caitlin Clark came in and like, yeah, I can see why it would be frustrating for a vet, but like now the WNBA is getting so much tension. Like the Indiana Fever, I think I saw something, one of the players who's been on the Fever for like 5 years was like, we used to practice and play in barns, and like now we get chartered flights. So it's like the rising tide
slowly changing. Yeah, I think like for the mainstream, like everyone's seeing like how much attention it's gotten in the last, just say 12 months.
Yeah.
Like everyone expects everything else to be at the same level.
Yeah.
As that, so as far as like what the women are able to get when they travel, or like the contract sizes and all, I think those things will continue to happen.
Yeah.
But I think like you're saying, the bigger win is that now, like the swimmer you just mentioned, Michael, or just any woman athlete in general, gets a little bit extra spotlight now, because it's starting to, because it's competitive as hell. I think that's the
There's
thing.
only 12 teams in the WNBA.
Yeah.
There's 32 teams. So it's what's crazy about the WNBA is like they have a whole draft just like every other sport. But what's crazy is like I don't know the exact stat, but it's something like 50% of the players that are drafted round 1 from the WNBA don't even make their team's final roster, because you're truly playing the best of the best, because there are only 12 teams.
They're adding 2 more teams.
The Golden State Valkyries, I think, is what they're called. So
and then Toronto's getting one too.
So I typed in WNBA into the fire search.
Yeah.
And some of the trends that came up is Caitlin Clark's impact, obviously, Angela Reese's performance, WNBA's financial struggles, Clark Reese's rival. Did you see the flagrant? That was weak. It wasn't. I think they're just it's a foul, but they're just gassing it. Like they're like, oh my god, like every chance. Those two. Olympic roster snubs. We talked about that, and you had some great points around that.
Yeah.
So Michael, a lot of journalists were trying to have that narrative, like, oh, Caitlin Clark needs to be in the Olympics, but like with Abby was just kind of explaining, it's like there is a true pecking order when it comes to the sport of women that haven't been able to get in, that actually deserve maybe a little bit more than her now. So like it's funny because you have this mixture of mainstream fans or new fans throwing their 2 cents in, and then your original fans like Abby, like, no, that's not right. Like, she doesn't need to be in because like, XYZ hasn't been.
People are gonna watch the Olympics. Like, Team USA doesn't need the extra clout that she brings to their roster. The point being, she's not the 12th best player in the league right now.
No, not
who
yet.
do you kick off that roster?
Yeah,
you're not kicking off Sabrina.
Right.
Hell no.
No.
So it's crazy because it's like Team USA wants to win gold. They don't care.
They don't care about all the extra
about
stuff.
The hoopla.
So I think like more so like on a global scale, what Caitlin Clark was able to do it's almost like throwing a nugget into the pond compared to what these women have been doing.
Right.
And I think she respects that, but it's just unfair because considering that she is such a trend, the media is going to try to leverage the hell out of it every chance they get because it speaks to girl power universally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like
girl power.
But that's how I look at it because it's like you show a girl like being really successful at anything, you have to bring up her because of just her college basketball career, like what she able to do. Being an athlete for me, it's like I know how much she practices. That's why I have a lot of respect for her.
Yeah.
But it's a lot because I mean literally typing in WNBA, I didn't type in Caitlin Clark at all, and the top 6 trends are around her or Angel Reese.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting, and I think that people should be very bullish on women's sports and just in general. Leverage it into your influencer strategies, leverage it into your content strategies, figure out a way to leverage that, because I don't see this trend dying away at all.
No.
I mean, I've been seeing sports that I've never seen. Remember, I was telling you that I was seeing like women's sports I've never seen on TV before. Where they're like a soccer game and had three different goals at one time, or like netball.
Yeah.
Like a sports that we don't even play in the United States.
Well, it's crazy
like
too.
Being on TV.
Yeah, like there are so many sports I feel like that are Olympic sports that like you only train for to make the Olympic roster. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, like I know that there are professional, track and field, athletes, but like where else do they make their money if not at the Olympics? I don't know. I could just be ignorant to that.
There's because I do have a lot of friends that are professional track runners. One being Mary Weinberg from University of Cincinnati, who is an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think in 2 or 3 different events too. So badass. Like she is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So during their
Mary Weinberg.
Yeah. So the Olympics is every 4 years. So those 4 years leading up to the Olympics,
do they have like the
it's
World
so
Championships?
So they have like their meets that they're tracking their points and stuff like that. It's almost like NASCAR, but not really. And then like every
track and field, NASCAR.
Yeah, but what I mean is like they have their like their flagship meets throughout the year, and then like you got to qualify to get to this one, and if you don't, then you can forget about the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's kind of set up the same way, but very much so. Like a lot of people like can struggle and just run with, like, if you're good enough, you can run whatever throughout the year, but on the women's side, there's a lot of that, like globally too. Like it's definitely a global thing. But other stuff, like diving and like all those things, like sometimes you just do that, right? And like that is, I think, a true Olympian type of thing. But it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that carries throughout the Olympics this year and throughout the rest of the season. One thing about the WNBA specifically that I just now is realizing is like how quickly they go from.
They play all the time. Yeah,
they go from the college. The college national championship to actual games maybe less than 60 days later.
It's 5 weeks between.
Boom.
I think it's 5 weeks. It's either 5 or 6 weeks between national championship, draft, and then preseason.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot.
And like people are probably like all up in arms about like the Fever. They're barely 500 if they are 500. I don't know. And people are like, if Caitlin Clark's so good, how come this team isn't? It's like, bro, it's like she's, first of all, it's 6 weeks since she graduated. Like,
she literally just got on the team.
Right, and they've been so bad the last 2 years. They've had the 2 number 1 draft picks in a row because they're terrible.
Mm-hmm. Did you make
She's
it up to
making it
that
better.
game? Did you make it up to that game?
No, I'm going, first WNBA game I'm going to is going to be a good one. It's Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever on Sunday.
This Sunday. Nice.
Stoked. In Chicago.
Well, we'll be definitely looking into getting your rundown of that. I want to see.
It's gonna be lit.
I want to see how packed it was.
Oh yeah.
Think about how much you're paying for stuff. It's the same. If it's less, if it's more, stuff like that. Because I think those are type of things that like our customers are going to care about.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what's that experience like going to the game? Is it on par, better than, which I've had a lot of women sports goers say it's better than an NBA game. So
I'm excited.
I think that could be a little biased. I don't know.
I haven't been to that many NBA games. I think I've only been to a couple Bulls games in my life, but
it's different. And again, like sometimes I've went to some NBA games. Like I done seen the Pacers play a couple times where I'm like, I'm sleepy. So I think that's something that we can kind of keep monitoring because again, all our predictions and everything from the platform show that this is going to
something
stick
we're
going
around.
to keep talking about. But
yeah,
let's switch it up to something that we all know too much about, whether it's a lot or a little, and that's grocery shopping.
One of my least favorite things to do.
Right. You don't grocery shop. I don't really grocery shop unless I'm like, honey, do this. I'm a honeydew grocery shopper.
Right.
Michael is the grocery shopper in his house. So we wanted to kind of talk about that experience because we noticed some weird stuff with shopping and maybe some trends we can call out in food and bev space.
So I do a lot of the grocery shopping in my house, and I finally caved and got so I won't say the retailer, but but I got a membership at this retailer to get groceries delivered on a regular basis. It just started, just a couple days ago. I've always been hesitant about doing it because I'm always kind of a snob about picking produce. So it's like. So
was it the delivery service?
It's like a loyalty thing where you get like fuel points and you get discounts on your delivery or whatever. And so I'm trying it out because, like I said, I've always been a little bit of a snob when it came to like the produce and whatnot. It's like, I just gotta pick the perfect produce. I want to be able to select the meats and stuff like that. But if it does a good job, keep it up. So.
I think one of the craziest things about grocery shopping and like where you go, I think for us it's different. I think we have an unfair grocery experience being in the hometown where Kroger is. I don't know if I should have said their name or not. I'm gonna just say.
We are in.
We're in Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area. That's like the place you shop.
What grocery shoppers?
No, seriously, we're like literally going grocery shopping anywhere outside of their network feels completely foreign. To the point where you notice like the littlest things. So like one of the things that I notice grocery shopping in Chicago is if you go to the checkout, you pay a price per shopping bag.
That's a lot of places.
That's an Illinois law.
That's
something that they passed when I was living there.
Crazy to me because being here,
it's like 7 cents or something stupid.
You literally open up your sink and have a whole area for extra Kroger bags.
Yeah.
So like I think it's important to kind of call out that that one of the trends I'm seeing from grocery shopping, Michael, in the fire search is plastic waste reduction. And zero waste. And I think that Chicago had it right many years ago, and New York has done the same thing and like done it in other areas. Like for example,
California.
You have a water bottle. Like you can't even throw a water bottle away the same way in like New York anymore. You have to like pay a deposit for a case or something like that when you buy waters.
You have to do that in Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan, they have a 10-cent recycle tax, and you can literally take. They have store like places in Michigan. Like so, if you were to buy a case of beer and it's a $30 case, it's going to actually charge you $33. But then you can take I remember doing this when I was a kid at my buddy's place up in northern Michigan, and like it was like literally can day. Like we would literally take
get all the cans you can.
Like lawn bags, like the yard waste bags, and just full of cans, and like. My buddy's mom would send us to the grocery store and we'd have to feed them one by one. And she would never send us there with any money. She's like, whatever money you get from the can returns, go buy the eggs, the milk, the bread. It was just like a core memory. Well, like 10-cent tax, yeah.
And that was how long ago?
Oh man, they still do it.
Yeah,
it's still a law. I'm less about. I'll just give you $20 to go buy the groceries instead of feeding them.
I hear stories about that, like from my parents, all the time about like ways they hustled up money, and it was like finding bottles and stuff like that. So it's good that now the grocery stores have like more of a push towards sustainability. I think it makes sense.
I think it is interesting. Go ahead.
I was just going to call out this one, another one on zero waste stores was another emerging trend that we picked up on this as well. I mean, there's been some stores I've been seeing just kind of pop up around where you kind of bring your own, you bring your own jars and all that sort of stuff too. There's no like packaging or containers that it's in. It's all like you have to bring like your own jars and stuff. It's wild. It's wild seeing some of that, especially when you're used to going to, the Kroger down the street, Walmart down the street, whatever store, and then you get a million plastic bags to take home with you.
I think something that's interesting with talking about and we've kind of talked about this too, is just like the way that grocery stores are thinking about self-checkout, and like how I'd say the majority of stores I feel like I go into now, there's like way more self-checkout lines than there are actual cashiers checking you out, which I think is interesting. Like I personally don't love self-checkout. I'll do it if I have like a couple of things, but like sometimes it's annoying to like have to check out all of your groceries, and so it's interesting because that's been popping up on trends and in Fire Search. But
there's something I want to add to that, but I want to stay on zero waste real quick. I typed in zero waste into Fire Search, so there's tons of zero waste trends. But one thing that I think is interesting that aligns with another report that I was working on is the aspect of just sustainable living.
Yep.
So I think that like since we're in this new age of just being more conscious as consumers, like being able to understand like, I think maybe the first area of that was buy US made stuff, right? There's like a huge campaign years ago where everyone's like, buy made in USA, be more conscious around how you're spending. I think that that's developed to the point where now consumers have the ability to make decisions on the stuff they buy based off of how sustainable they are, or the grocery store. I want to deal with a grocery store that has a zero waste policy, or just being more supportive of these bigger social issues. So one of those areas I think that I've discovered from the inflation report was that. So people aligning to what they're willing to spend on based off of having like zero waste as a part of their culture, or having you even seen it with the sustainable conscious eating foods, or plant-based foods, where it's conscious eating. Climbivores, there you go. And what's it called? People that will only buy farm-to-table products, and like things that they know that can come from the farm. So I think that all kind of plays into that. But Abby, you just mentioned like you hate the self-checkout. One of the reasons we even talking about this is because Michael had a weird experience with a no checkout, and there's a new, what's it called when you just throw the stuff in the basket?
So I know. So Amazon was doing this originally, like at their Amazon Fresh stores and whatnot, where it's like you put it in the put it in the basket, and then you take it, and then but then you get automatically charged. You wouldn't have to check out at all. I won't tell you what store this is, but or who's providing the solution or anything like that. Copyright or whatever. But so I went to the grocery store, and they were offering this this grocery cart where whenever you put a product in there, it would just scan the product, and then you just put in your loyalty number or whatever in like on a screen that's on the cart, and so it would scan it and just kind of show you like, hey, you got a jar of pickles and that was $3 and whatever, and you can apply this coupon and whatnot to it. It was really cool. And so all you had to do was just put your stuff in there, we'd scan it. And I was doing this on Memorial Day, Memorial Day. And I just, the store was starting to get crazy crowded and whatnot, and I didn't even have to go to the checkout at all for that. I just, cool,
That's
just gonna
cool.
pay from there and just walk right out.
I've never seen that. I'm curious though, not saying that I would, but I'm curious how do the people like not steal stuff?
That's what I was thinking. Like it has to be a certain amount that can fit in the basket before it's like
I mean, there's scanners recording everything you put in and out of the basket.
Oh.
Is it a regular size basket?
Yeah.
Huh.
See, I've seen the
It doesn't have the little seat on it though. But.
I've seen the same thing at an airport.
I've seen it at airports before,
Right.
yeah.
Where you just go in, you grab your stuff, and then you don't even scan money. I think it's connected to your Amazon or something, and then it just charges you when you leave out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think we're in this new age of just automatic things and like areas where consumers are expecting technology to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're almost at this point where, things are sometimes too good to be true. Like you like what? I don't have to scan it. But then you're like, oh, okay, well, this is going to cause another problem, or this could cause another problem.
Yeah.
And I think that we saw it like with the checkouts, the self-checkout, and then that spinning up conversations around theft at certain retailers and stuff that. But then like this new one, again, the scammers are going to figure out a way to finesse a couple of free grocery carts full of stuff. I mean, it's just what those type of people do. But I think that like what's going to come next from that then, if we're going to be able to just pick our groceries up, is it going to be connected to a profile where it's like, all right, well, Michael comes in here 3 times a week and he gets this, and this. So should this be an automatic like order or something? I don't know. Like with AI and like all this stuff, I'm always thinking about like what are they going to try to do next?
Yeah, like
because
like when you go on like DoorDash or like one of those, and it's like you last ordered this. Like you pick the one restaurant and it pulls up what you had ordered last.
oh.
Like totally.
It's like Kurt at Kung Fu, but like
But what's interesting though about something that you said there, Khalil, is like sustainability and zero waste as a whole is like it's transcendent upon obviously quite a few different industries. And like something that I think about a lot is like how great the move towards electric vehicles are, but like right now I personally don't think I would buy one because there just aren't enough like charging stations like throughout the country. And like for example, I'm driving to Chicago this weekend. Like I wouldn't be able to take my car because like I'm sure I would be able to find them along the way, but like I don't want to have to stop and wait like an hour for my car to charge.
It's definitely a change. It's like what are you giving up in order to have that? Right. It was funny with the EV, with the Cybertruck. I watched a video from the donut company, and they do like outdoorsy car stuff. Well, they took one off-roading. It's not. It has the power, all the stuff to be able to do it. The biggest problem is the fuel, like being able to charge it if you're off grid or like doing stuff like that. So I think we're at a point in time where like we're starting like everyone's more conscious, everyone's more open to like this stuff around this new technology, sustainability, all those things. But people don't know what you have to sacrifice for some of these things too, right? Yeah. So it's interesting to look into, but.
So I'm looking at some stuff on EVs. So, because the obvious benefit of the EVs is the emissions,
sure.
Right? But there is a lot of looking at it from both angles. There's an environmental risk still involved there. It's because of the sourcing of the material to make the batteries for those cars. It's like the biggest counter argument.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying this.
And so it's like. I feel like there's always an unintended consequence whenever there's some sort of environmental thing, or a lot of things in general, and so that's something that's all you always have to think about.
Well, I think one thing I noticed from the inflation report that I did was when you're looking around sustainability and how it's impacting, like consumers are super on top of it when it comes to like what companies are saying and then what they're doing when it comes to sustainability. And like if I could drive any insight from that part of the report at all, is that like you better be sustainable where you say you are, or you will have a bunch of people like call you out for it at every given chance that they can.
Yeah.
Because I guess apparently, like, now that people understand that there's government incentives associated with these sustainable initiatives, they're like more critical, even more about companies that say like, hey, we're
Quick to call them out for greenwashing.
Dude, it is crazy. And the EVs, like the EV companies themselves is like another area. But I just think that, you know, especially like when we're talking about food and bev companies, it's important that, you know, you want to align with these trends, you want to align with these things that are happening, whether it's WNBA, you know, autonomous shopping, whatever it is, you want to align with these things, but you want to understand the culture behind it, because that'll help you understand if it's something that you should align your brand with, if it's something that you shouldn't, is it going to be something that's going to be around or not? Because again, there's sacrifices that you have to make when you make these decisions as a brand, I feel like. And it's good and bad, but you know, I think that there is a lot to be said when you're talking about understanding like consumer trends and like consumer level signals around this stuff, because you can build out really sophisticated marketing projects or literally whatever you think of, in my opinion. But I don't know. You guys want to talk about anything else or call anything else out specifically?
I just put in greenwashing because I was interested to see what sort of brands.
In the fire search?
Yeah, I was just interested to see what sort of brands are being called in there. Shell makes sense.
Yeah.
Target though, so they have some soap products where users are expressing frustration that those soap products are misleading with their eco-friendly claims. Let's see. Spotify released a 63-page climate report, and they're being accused of greenwashing because more or less based on the report, they're being perceived as insincere with their efforts. Nestle is being accused of greenwashing by sponsoring an environmental award, although people are questioning about their true sustainability efforts. MasterChef. The show MasterChef is getting scrutiny for greenwashing.
Gas usage.
Interesting. So it's really, I mean, this is one of those interesting areas where it's like you have to be authentic with your claims, with what you're doing. You have to actually be doing what you're saying, like making sure that you're mitigating the repercussions of, if there's any unintended consequence. Like for instance, I mean, you can talk all day about how much carbon emissions you're reducing of electric vehicles, but if you're, using abusive labor to acquire the rare earth minerals and stuff like that to make the batteries for it, I mean, like, then, that like you have to figure out like how do you address that fact too. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a two-factor thing. I think a lot of brands are recognizing that there's a lot of unintended consequences behind some things too. It's not a perfect system. We're just all still trying to figure it out. But if you end up having some of those repercussions happen, people find that out when you're touting these other sustainability efforts, then that's bad news bears for your brand. Yeah.
I just think now, just with the social media and our abilities to literally communicate across the world like this now, you gotta just be on top of your stuff when it comes to these claims or these big social political like areas that you choose to align with, because we were just talking about it earlier. It's like your brand is independent of that. It has to be, because you want people from all sides to, purchase from your brand. So you got to keep that in mind when you're aligning like that. But there are some areas that I think people wanted to jump into because it was cool, and now it's like, hey, let's hold off on that, or I think sustainability is one of those things where companies are like, all right, let's hold off on that, or let's not make this claim, or but I think that it's easier to align with people, influencers and pages and other initiatives to kind of push out that narrative to a point where we were talking about it earlier today, Michael, where you don't have to really just put a flag in anything. You can just kind of be supportive in your own kind of way.
In an authentic way.
Authentic way is it. But I think that we can keep talking about this. I know we all got some things to do this evening, but I just encourage anyone to, if you guys got any questions, and talking to our viewers, if you guys got any questions or any topics y'all want us to specifically go over, let us know. I'm going to come up with a new campaign to make sure it's a little bit more uniform around the topics that we talk about, and maybe we'll shoot another episode before the end of this month, which is June. So we got a couple more weeks in June. Maybe we throw another episode up so we can double up in July. But until then, what they say: like, comment, subscribe, follow us on LinkedIn, check us out for the free trial of the Nichefire tool. And until then, we'll see you at the next episode. Peace. Peace, guys. See ya.